Let's talk about that communication being enhanced a little bit more with Simon Freakley, the CEO of AlixPartners. So we always talk to you at Davos, although it has been remotely. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much.
I'll come around a little bit. So look, let's start off talking about what the vibe is here, what it's like. Is everyone positive, or are they really bleak and miserable?
I think they're split down the middle. I think half are preparing themselves for a recession, half have convinced themselves there won't be a recession. I think the jury is out at this stage.
So there are different ideas on how to stoke growth, but let's talk about China and that speech from Liu He. I mean, what really resonated for you in terms of China's commitment to cooperation?
Well, I think it could be a game changer. You know, I say that Davos is split down the middle as of this morning. You know, will we have a recession, will we not? I think the whole prospect of China opening up, the whole prospect of a Cold War narrative falling away, the prospect of maybe being in a more globalised world again, I think it could be a game changer.
And which particular sectors do you think might really benefit from that from China reopening?
Well, I think all sectors, honestly. I mean, I think that China has been the workshop of the world over the last 10, 15 years, and the prospect of that very joined-up world, I think, was terrifying for businesses of all sectors. So I think the prospect of being more joined up again, the prospect of more investment both ways, the prospect of really collaborating again in a global way, I think is very exciting.
Do you get the feeling that there's a different atmosphere here? Normally it's quite collaborative, there's a bit of a consensus at the World Economic Forum, yeah. But it does seem now there is a little bit of a split, maybe people doing their own thing with subsidies, for example?
Well, yes, I mean, I think that one of the dangers of Davos is it can be a bit full of platitudes, but I think there is a real narrative emerging of cooperation. I mean, obviously we've come through this major disruption of our lifetimes, COVID. We have this human tragedy of a ground war going on in Ukraine. I think there's a lot to feel down about, but actually business is feeling that there's an opportunity for growth, and actually notwithstanding a high interest rate environment, that actually maybe we won't head into a recession.
Something else that's going to be big here all week is climate change. And that, look, big names, big speeches. Ursula von der Leyen took to the stage. She talked about support for Ukraine, but also the green transition, saying the road to net zeros will be the greatest transformation of our times. Do you think Europe's got what it takes?
I don't know. And of course, one of the great tragedies is, as a result of this appalling war that's going on, is that people's focus has moved from the green transition to just sustainability of supply. So, accessing gas, accessing oil, making sure that European nations aren't dependent on Russian energy. And so I think that the danger was that energy transition had been put on the back burner. I think with this prospect of things opening up, I do think that maybe it'll come back into the foreground.
But Ursula von der Leyen didn't mention the cost of living crisis that's hitting Europe hard as well as around the world.
It's going to be huge. So what's happening with interest rates and mortgages and to people's disposable incomes, what's happening to energy prices which have rocketed, it absolutely will hit the pocket, it'll hit the consumer purse, and I think we will see that in all of the obvious industries.